is Rex. She'll call me Captain or Sir.
Happy May 4th. It's another edition of the Spano History Symposium, Star Wars and History. Now we begin with the underpinnings of Star Wars. There is a certain philosophical idea to what George Lucas was doing. And part of it is based on the idea of the mythological epic, which he was well versed in Joseph Campbell's writings. You also have the idea of the Force in religious underpinnings of Hinduism and Buddhist traditions. Now, as a movie, George Lucas took many ideas and things that he saw in World War I and World War II movies. For example, from the movie that won the first Academy Award, Wings, there's a similarity between a scene in Wings and the Canto Bright scene. And of course, the famous movie by Howard Hughes, Hell's Angels, the Graf Zeppelin scene, is very similar to what you see in Revenge of the Sith as the ship crashes into the planet. And of course, the dogfights. You have, and the bombing missions. You have the movie Dawn Patrol from World War I. Dam Busters from World War II. Very similar to the raid on the Death Star. And of course, he had his people watch numerous combat reels of dogfighting from World War II. But let's take a look at history in Star Wars and the imagery. A lot of this comes from a novel, history book, that was edited by Regan and Liedel. It deals with a variety of topics that go with history in Star Wars. Now you begin with the obvious, and that's Nazi Germany. Of course, right off the bat, you have the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers, direct linkage to German stormtroopers. And of course, Vader's helmet, very similar to what you see in German soldiers' helmets. And of course, Palpatine. Palpatine has many historical similarities. And of course, his rise to power, very similar to Hitler. And of course, the medal scene at the end of Star Wars, very much related to the movie, the propaganda movie, Triumph of the Will, a 1935 movie. Now, George Lucas himself directly said that Palpatine also was a reaction to Richard Nixon and the abuse of power that he conducted with the Watergate scandal. There are obvious similarities to the Vietnam War. In fact, George Lucas and others have said that the Ewoks are representative of the Viet Cong, and their superior knowledge of local terrain helped them overcome a superior force. Now let's take a look at the Jedi. The Knights Templar, samurai, Shaolin monks are all examples of what the Jedi are. In terms of fighting and that spiritual style, you have the samurai and the Shaolin using the Force. But the Jedi Order is very much related to the Knights Templar. It is a military, monastic order, even though they claim they're upholding the peace. You also have this idea that the individual Knight Templar and the individual Jedi, the austerity, the devotion, the moral purity, they are individually poor, but in an organization with great, great wealth. And of course, in the Revenge of the Sith, Order 66. And that has very much a direct relation to October 13th, Friday, October 13th, 1307, when Philip IV of France ordered the destruction of the Templar leaders and rounded them up, just like Palpatine. And then you have the Cold War. Obviously, the Death Star is a metaphor for nuclear weapons. Ronald Reagan even referred to our defense system as Star Wars. Now, our last connection to history is with Rome. And of course, you have the Senate, you have the Republic, you have the Empire. You have that transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire, which occurs during a civil war. The same thing happens in Star Wars. And they even talk about the idea of the citizen. And you see similarities in architecture. Naboo very much looks like a later Roman imperial city. And of course, the pod race, with its connection to Ben-Hur and chariot races. So we want to thank you for listening and enjoy your May 4th. Have a good one.